good friend, Maestro Ari Derfel.
Actually, I have no idea how to play the piano. But I have always wanted to know what it would feel like to be a concert pianist, and I could not pass up that opportunity. That's totally awesome. So if you're a concert pianist, that's amazing. So it would help me, and I think all the speakers today, to really ground and arrive right now would be if you would feel your feet on the ground, shake out your hands, that coffee that's coursing through your veins, and just take a nice deep breath with me. So I'm going to start with a quote, and I'm not going to tell you who said it or when until after the quote. And I want you to pay attention as closely as you can to each of the words, and not just to the words, but to what you feel as I'm saying them. And it goes like this. We will find neither national purpose nor personal satisfaction in a mere continuation of economic progress, in an endless amassing of worldly goods. We cannot measure national spirit by the Dow Jones average or national achievement by the gross national product. For the gross national product includes air pollution and ambulances to clear our highways of carnage. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought for just a second. It counts special locks for our doors and jails for people who break them. The gross national product includes the destruction of the redwoods, the death of Lake Superior. It grows with the production of napalm and missiles and nuclear warheads. It includes the broadcasting of television programs which glorify violence to sell goods to our children. And if the gross national product includes all this, there is much that it does not comprehend. It does not allow for the health of our families, the quality of their education, the joy of their play. It is indifferent to the decency of our factories and the safety of our streets alike. It does not include the beauty of our poetry, the strength of our marriages, the intelligence of our public debate, or the integrity of our public officials. The gross national product can measure neither our wit nor our courage, neither our wisdom nor our learning, neither our compassion nor our devotion to our country. It measures everything, in fact, except that which makes life worthwhile. Does anyone know who said that? Shout it out. Robert F. Kennedy. And I don't know about you, but it feels like that could have been written a half an hour ago and it would be perfectly appropriate to today. But he said those words nearly a half century ago. And so the question that I ask is, have we gotten any closer in a half century to measuring our existence and our experience on this earth in more meaningful and worthwhile ways than simply a mere continuation of economic progress and an endless amassing of worldly goods? And I think the answer is yes. I think that democracy and capitalism have just been warming up, but that we are fast approaching a crux moment, an incredible tipping point, and on the other side is capitalism and democracy in their finest hour. And I believe that our future will be no accident. It will be entirely on purpose. And that's the point of today's discussion, to talk about business 3.0, not business as usual. I mean, the name implies we're doing something different. So let's look at business 1.0, right? Business 1.0 was maximize profits at all costs. It's perfectly exemplified in this joke. Sell a man a fish, and he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you ruin a perfectly good business opportunity. Now, Business 2.0 was an incredible evolutionary leap. It said, maximize profits, but hey, while you're doing it, do no harm. And that's what we've called sustainability. But Business 3.0 is something way, way, way more incredible. It's the full coming together. It's capitalism, democracy, realizing the full potential. It's recognizing that business is a tool to be used to create good. Yeah, you can make noise. I will not be offended if you do the wave, whatever it is you feel like doing today. You're here to have some fun. I mean, that's an incredible thing. It's business realizing that business, commerce, the trading of something of value between two entities, that value is not some financial transaction, and those entities aren't some abstractions. That value is something that is meaningful, and those entities are us, people. And so it's business recognizing that at its core, business is activism. It is the most powerful tool we have to shape the world. Now, in Business 2.0, there was a lot of finger pointing. It was a lot of finger pointing at the government and a lot of finger pointing at corporations and a lot of finger pointing at businesses saying, no, 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 stop doing that. You're doing bad. And we needed to do that. But we've learned now, 50 years later, that takes up a lot of time and a lot of energy and wastes a lot of resources. And that what we finally come to is this beautiful realization that we need to take those fingers and turn them around and point them at ourselves. We have to ask ourselves 4 questions. 1, what world do I want to live in? 2, what can I contribute? 3, how committed am I? And 4, how far am I willing to go? Now, that is exactly what my business partner and I did 10 years ago when we set out on a journey to do this. And my business partner, who is here today, his name is Eric Fenster, I will be ever grateful for. It's hard to even say it without choking up. But he took that idea, that concept of pointing a finger at himself to the most extreme. He went on a vision quest. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, it's a Native American rite of passage. And he went out and he sat in the desert in the Owl's Head Mountains above Death Valley, and he sat there for 4 days fasting, sitting by himself, emptying himself out so that he could allow the earth and his own intuition to rise within him. And on his last night, his vision came to him clearly. He wanted to build an all-organic restaurant in the heart of a progressive community center in the greenest building possible in downtown Berkeley. He came out of the desert, and I am so lucky that number 2 on his to-do list was to call me. We'd known each other briefly in college. I taught him how to be a mountain guide. He came and he shared this with me, and I said, I believe in that too. I feel it, the hair standing up on my neck, and we made it our vision. When we got right to work, we sat down, 2 guys with no money, no culinary experience. We'd never run a business before, and we sat down and we wrote a mission statement. And 10 years later, that mission statement hasn't changed. Our mission is to provide people with experiences that celebrate life and enhance our awareness of self and community and the earth. And we realized at that moment, though, that we had done something much more than create a mission statement. We realized we had created a pact. We looked each other in the eyes and we said, no matter what happens, no matter what gets thrown our way on this journey, we will never compromise our values. We will never engage in business, in any relationship or transaction in a way that compromises our principles. And in so doing, we were actually setting out on a journey, not just to create a business, but to learn about ourselves, to help each other grow, to constantly ask that question, how far are we willing to go? And to always stop and make time for the earth to tell us what she needs of us. And I am so proud, so humbled to be able to say that 10 years ago, after we wrote that we brought Eric's vision and our collective vision to life. We built Gather Restaurant in the heart of the David Brower Center, a progressive community center and home for environmental and social justice movements in the greenest building in the East Bay in downtown Berkeley. And Along the way, we started Back to Earth, the first organic catering company in the world. Now, 10 years later, we're doing almost $5 million a year in sales. We employ hundreds of people. We're humbled by the way the public has received it. Esquire magazine named it one of the top 20 new restaurants in the country. They picked our chef and now partner Sean Baker as the best chef in the U.S. The New York Times compared us to Alice Waters, called us a Michael Pollan book come to life. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. But the most important thing is not all that. It's what we've learned. It's what we've learned in that process, that journey of being in business. And what we've learned is that what makes life worthwhile is not profit. It's relationships. The relationships we built with our employees, the relationships we built with our customers, the relationships that we built with our purveyors, the relationships that we built with each other. And I think that that's why we've been successful. In fact, I know it's why we were able to raise $2.5 million between 2008 and 2009, the worst economic climate of our lifetimes, to build a restaurant. It's because our investors, and there are over 100 of them, wanted to invest in something real, tangible, something that had intrinsic value, something they could taste, touch, see, and feel, in a place where they could come to celebrate life, to learn about themselves, to dream up a new world, to nourish themselves around the table. And that is what we now call slow money. So once the restaurant was up and running, while I had been looking for investors, I had this amazing privilege of meeting a wildly intelligent, beautiful man named Woody Tash, who wrote a book called Inquiries into the Nature of Slow Money, Investing as if Food, Farm, and Fertility Mattered. And now that Gather was up and running, Woody and I had a few talks, and I realized I now want to join this effort. And I became the first executive director of the national organization. And I would need a whole TED Talk to describe what slow money is, but let me just give you a couple bullet points. The idea is simple. The vast majority of our investment dollars perpetuate broken economic and ecological systems on this planet. And that if we are to change that, we need to begin investing in things that have inherent value here, close to home. We need to let our money go to work over time. We can't invest it and just grab financial transaction fees right out of it. We need to let it sit there. And we need to measure return on investment not simply by profit, but by things like soil fertility, by the jobs we make, the relationships we build, the ecology we restore. And the beautiful thing about slow money is that it's not an idea we're trying to sell to people. From the moment his book was written, the world demanded of him put these principles into action. And there's now more than 25 groups around the world who call themselves slow money chapters. We're trying to figure out what to even do with them. We've had 2 national gatherings, and $5 million has already started to be invested in local food systems. It's been a remarkable, remarkable experience. And the goal is to catalyze the flow of billions and billions of dollars of investment into these sort of restorative things. Our focus to start is on food systems because they are the basis and the foundation of local, regional, national, and global economies. And our goal is not simply to do this for accredited investors, but to make it possible for all people, everyone, even if they have $25, to take part in the active rebuilding of strong, robust, resilient, local and regional economies. And I have to say, I feel like MacGyver because there's this clock that you can't see that just keeps ticking down, and it's like the world's going to blow up in a minute. So if you have gum or a paperclip, I could use that right now. So I want to end with one story, and I just want to say that if you're anything like me, and if I'm anything like you, there are days where I can barely get out of bed, let alone engage in shaping the world. And I'm feeling right now that even 5 months ago, my mother passed away. And sometimes I need everything I can get to just simply get out of bed in the morning. And when I need that, I turn to this final story that I'm going to share with you. I turn to it time and time again. It goes like this. An elderly Cherokee woman was teaching her children and grandchildren about life. She said to them, "There is a great fight going on inside of me. It is a fight between 2 wolves. The first wolf is fear and greed and anger and deceit and self-doubt and cooperation and all of the ugly things, competition, all of the ugly things in the world. The second wolf is hope and love and trust and sharing and faith and cooperation and self-appreciation and all of the beautiful things in the world. And I sat there for a moment. And then one of the children looked up and said, "Grandmother, which wolf will win?" And she said simply, "The one you feed. The one you feed." And so I invite you, as you listen to the rest of these speakers today, who are proof that we are moving the world in a new direction and that Business 3.0 is about being a tool for good, to ask yourself, what do you want to feed? It has been an honor to share this morning with you.
Ari Derfel.
Thanks, man.